Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Just Because podcast, where we talk all things cosplay and life in general and just the good stuff, the good vibes, the fun times, etc., etc. You know how it is. I'm Daniela, and Jeremy, would you like to introduce yourself, even though I just said your name?
I'm Jeremy. That's Daniela. You know us, guys. Welcome back.
You know who we are.
Before we jump into this episode, as usual, if you guys don't already know, we've got a Patreon. Woo. It's slowly growing. We've got our little community growing in there, which is awesome. So if you'd like to show your support of just the cost of a cup of coffee each month, feel free to jump in at the JustBeCos Cosplay Podcast Patreon. You can also join our private Discord where, like I said, our community is growing. Our support for everyone else in there is growing. We've got tutorials that's getting added each time and lots of other cool stuff that we're adding as time goes on. So,
Yeah,
but that's enough of that. Danny, what are we talking about today?
Today, Jeremy, we are talking about community.
Ooh. What is community here? Why is this so spicy? Why is this a requested topic, actually?
Yep. So we've been doing a bit of brainstorming, and we realized there's actually more people than we thought that actually are struggling with fitting into the cosplay community. They don't know how to, they don't know what they should do. They don't know if there's a beauty standard or just little things like that. Yeah. So we wanted to really break the barrier and delve deep into it and let you guys know that we believe it's for everyone, but in detail. We're going
to show you the nitty gritty, the 1, 2, 3 ABCs of you don't know where to start.
Yes.
We gotcha.
We got to.
Danny, we've talked about our story a little bit already, but just to kind of a brief recap, what has been your, introduction to the cosplay community? Were you always popular in the community? Was everyone always wanting to come and talk to you? Or was it something that you kind of had to, learn and figure out along the way? What's your experience been like so far?
Yep. So it definitely was something I had to learn and figure out. When I first started cosplay, I wasn't actually big in the community. My friends that I would go with were from high school, which was awesome because, we're all nerds, we all love anime, we all went, but obviously eventually I'm sure Jeremy, you experienced this too. Sometimes the friends aren't as big into the cosplay as you are and they kind of just slowly fall off as you want to keep going. And then it's but I don't want to go alone. So there was a period of time when I was only going to just 1 or 2 cons a year, like Smash and occasionally Supernova. And that was it. That was all I did because, that was the only times that the occasional friend would want to go.
Yep.
But as I started getting myself more involved, then I started meeting more people. So when I joined a group cosplay, it was a Genshin Impact cosplay group, and this was 2022 or 2021, and I did Arataki Ito because I think he's hot.
Yeah.
I don't even play the game. I was like, ooh, hello. Anyway, I met people. People were really nice because they liked the character. And I didn't get into it very quickly. It does take time. People need to get to know you. People aren't just going to jump on you and want to hang out with you 24/7 straight away.
Yep.
It actually takes effort, which is hard if you're an introvert. I'm lucky that I'm not lucky, but I am an extrovert. So I don't really find it as hard, I guess, as maybe other people when it comes to approaching others. I do get shy, don't get me wrong, but I'm not afraid of being rejected, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jeremy? I could easily ramble about my side of things for ages, but
that's all right. That's why we're both here. We share experience. Everyone's anyone listening to Danny's oh, you're an extrovert. You got it easy. Me. Introverts, I got you. Because that's me.
Yes.
So, you already know my story. I've told a million times. All boys school. Can't talk to women. Still struggle. I'm a little bit better now. But what I did was pretty much exactly the same thing. Went with a high school friend and my brother who, we grew up with the same things. We're only 2 years apart. So we hung out a lot. As soon as I was I'm going to try to do cosplay, my brother was yep, no, I've had enough. That's it. I'm out. So it was just me. And my high school friend is I've checked out cons a few times, don't really want to go. And everyone's probably got the same experience, especially if you're an introvert like me. You're scared to talk to people. Everyone else looks too scary, especially girls. Girls are scary. I get it.
We are pretty scary.
Yeah, you're pretty scary. Okay. And I did probably what everyone else is doing. You just kind of walk around, you look at stuff, and you hope someone comes and says hi to you. You hope someone says, "Oh, you got a cool costume, man. I want to be your friend." It doesn't work like that. And it did take a lot of trial and error, literally going up to people to try and talk to them, getting embarrassed, taking it personally, having a cry about it. Like, it happens. But the point is, you do have to make the first move to talk to people. Okay?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're introverted or extroverted, talking to people is a human quality. Like, we're here to be social creatures. So
I remember at your panel at Smash, you mentioned it actually, it was so good. It was Jeremy was saying at the Smash panel that, you know, if you're afraid to approach everyone, don't you think that maybe all the others are afraid to approach you too? Like we're all a bunch of nerds. A lot of us are introverted. We don't know how to approach people. So someone's going to make that first move.
And it might as well be you because it's in your power. And if you're interested in that, guess what? I just got accepted to do a panel at Smash this year. So if you want
good, guys.
If you want to hear like a 1-hour crash course about how to make friends as a cosplayer, as a cosplaying introvert, come and hear me at Smash. I'll talk about it again.
Yeah.
But this whole aspect is not quite literally just how to approach people and make friends. Maybe you know how to talk to people. Maybe you know how to approach them, but you still feel like you're struggling to fit in. You're struggling to, you know, connect with people. Why that might be. We're here to talk about that today. We got the extroverted point of view. We got the introverted point of view. We're gonna cover all bases today.
Yeah.
So, Danny, I want to ask you. You can obviously talk to people. You can obviously start up a conversation. But at what point in time do you feel like, yeah, you know what? I actually enjoy going back to cons again and again because we literally pulled up a few questions that we got both online from our Instagram where we asked people, hey, tell us your stories, tell us your struggles. And we even plugged some of them into Reddit. And boy, Reddit's got some stories to tell. What's because you know in that Reddit story it was pretty much saying exactly that. Like I've been cosplaying for a while, been cosplaying for a lot of years, but you know I feel like as I get older, people are moving away from the hobby. I've got people who are younger joining the hobby, which is great, but you know there's just less in common. I feel like I've missed the boat. Is it worth me going back to cosplay? You know, do I have to be on social media? All of these things. What are your 2 cents, Danny? What do you got? What do you believe at this point in time? Because you and I, we're not early 20s, late teens anymore. We're not spring chickens anymore. We're not spring chickens anymore. But it's still fun being in the community. So why do you think that's the case for both of us, both you and I?
I feel like it's because we started it not because of our age. Like we didn't think about our age. Like it's so hard. Even as I get older, I don't think about it. Maybe it's because the friends that we have are around our age. Like I feel like naturally you will flock towards people who are around your age because you have that mental maturity, like level of, you know, mental maturity. It just happens naturally.
I got you.
So, and I was going to say what you have to and don't have to do depends on what you want out of cosplay too. So if you really want to grow on a professional level, then yes, you will need to work on your social media presence. Like that's a must. Like
that's a good point.
Aside from the networking is super important, but you need a way for people to find you and contact you. And yeah, social media is the best way to do it. But if you're just doing it for fun, like I have cosplay friends who have like a private account or only posted like 3 times, and that's completely fine. Like you don't have to have an intense profile with lots of followers and lots of posts. It just really depends on what you want to do. I will say though, the more you share of your passion, I feel it's a bit easier for people to connect with you and want to find you. So when I was slowly getting back into the cosplay scene, I was showing my progress of Set from League of Legends. And because I was showing that constantly on my stories, people randomly came up to me and were like, oh, it's so cool to see this in person. I've been watching your progress. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even have to make the effort to approach someone because they were already on my journey. Yeah, it's so nice. And the more that people see you're approachable too, I think helps. Like when people can see in your content and what you post in your story that you're this friendly and approachable person and you want people to say hi to you, the more likely people might be, you know, less afraid to actually approach you. Because I found that like there are cosplayers that are I would say maybe bigger than me or more experienced than me, and I don't see if they're happy for people to approach them or not. I get shy and I get anxious, even though I'm extroverted. I'm still like, oh, what if I annoy them? Like, just my presence is annoying.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned a really good point there just about social media in general. Again, social media is not essential. If you don't want to be a big social media superstar, that's fine. However, it makes it so much easier to meet people in 2025 if you have social media, particularly Instagram in this day and age.
Exactly.
Right? The reason being, again, I've met cosplayers who have 0 posts, but they post on their stories like every day. And it still allows you to, kind of get an idea of their personality, who they are, what they get up to.
Connect with them, yeah.
Connect with them, right? So if you don't have social media and you want to connect with people, I would strongly urge you to do so, okay? There might be something... What are some reasons people don't want social media these days, Danny?
I feel like a lot of the time is they say it impacts their mental health, and I think it's because of the content they consume.
Yep.
Which you can train your algorithm not to give you content that you don't want to see. Yeah, if you keep consuming content that you don't want to see, it's going to keep showing you that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Little bits of Instagram crash course. You can go to media that you don't want to see. For example, if you don't want to see fishing videos, go to the fishing video, go to the top right notification and hit, I don't want to see content like this. There's literally a button that says, I don't want to see, or like, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
and you can train the algorithm to just show you stuff that you want. But
exactly,
the purpose of social media is you go to a con or you maybe browse someone's cosplay online and maybe they're in your city or they're in your country. You can look at their stuff and hit follow. Yeah, sweet. Maybe they post something which is cool. You tell them, hey, dude, that's awesome. I really like it. That's great. And you might have like 2 sentences of conversation, right? And that's the way it's like, oh, we've gone from level 0 to level 1 of knowing each other, right? It's something.
Exactly.
Right? And that's just kind of how you start conversations, just individually with people. And if you're wanting to connect with people in the community, it is honestly a cheat code in this day and age because, Danny, you probably remember it as well as I do.
Anymore.
No one has phone numbers anymore. It's just like, oh, can I get your number and text you? Like, no, it's so casual.
That's more personal.
Easy. Just doing it on Instagram, right? And, way back when, Danny, 2010s? Where there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. It was just, you go to a con and you try and talk or meet up with people there. But in this day and age, you can quite literally set at level 1, level 2 friendship of just basic, vague messages to each other about your journey to creating set, your journey to making a costume, right? And that's how people get to know you. That's how you get to know them, is you share your journey on social media. They share their journey on social media. And it's almost like, wow, I was there the entire time that Danny was making set. So it's like, I know her that well, right?
Yeah.
You might know them. And this is the danger people get stuck in. And please agree or disagree with me here. People will say, oh, I was with you there the entire time, Danny. I watched you make set from the moment you bought your materials to when you tried it on. I thought it was awesome, right? You might tell that to them, but they're like, thanks, man, for watching my stories, but we've never talked before. I think it's really flattering, but who are you? Right?
Yeah, it's hard. People aren't going to know who you are just because you watch their stories.
I've
had people be like, it's me. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know you. Like, it's like, but I've liked every story. It's like, I appreciate that, but you've never interacted with me in the same way, right? So it could be one of those things in which, you send a message out to them and they reply back. Awesome, you've got a conversation. You might also be like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And they don't reply back. Yeah. Whatever, right?
Another thing I think we've discussed in the previous episodes is the safety around interacting in person and on social media and the boundaries and how to be respectful. I just want to quickly say that, if you're talking with someone and you ask for their Instagram, I guess some people probably struggle with not looking creepy, which I understand. Like a lot of the time, the first thing I say is, oh, what's your Instagram so I can tag you in the photo that I might ask, because that's how I started started conversation. Like, I love your costume. Can we please get a photo? Do you have Instagram so I can tag you?
Okay.
And then a lot of time I'd be like, oh, I'll give you a follow. I love your work. And then I usually say, I don't expect you to follow me back. Like, please don't feel pressured to follow me back. Like, I try to make it very clear that
Interesting.
I
Okay.
like their work and I don't want them to feel pressured, because some people are just really nice and they feel like they have to give something because you were nice to them instead of just being nice back.
That's not a bad way of doing it. It's being very
Yeah.
upfront and saying, "Oh, look, I don't expect anything. I just want to know your work." But
Yeah.
again, I think in the same vein as well, that can also give you the appearance of someone who, again, just maybe give you the appearance of someone who's not so comfortable with themselves. They're not so confident. It's like, "Oh, I'm not good enough. You don't have to follow me back." And,
That's true.
You know,
yeah,
I think it's a
that.
modesty thing. I think it's very cool that you do that. But
Yeah.
I think for me personally, the way that if I meet someone, I will usually only ask for an Instagram if I feel like, hey, you're really cool. I'd like to keep in touch with you. And I'd only have asked that if I get a similar vibe from them as well.
Yeah.
Right? If it's just like, you know, we meet with friends of a friend, we don't really talk, we say hi. I don't see a point in exchanging Instagrams with someone I don't really connect with, I don't really talk to. What's the point of exchanging Instagrams? That's my view.
Yeah.
So I'd only
is so
ever
fair.
ask to say, oh, like, hey, you seem pretty cool. We should exchange Instagrams.
Yeah.
At that
And say
point,
that I don't follow everyone I tag. In
No,
my stuff.
exactly,
Like,
right.
Again, you need, like you said, you need to actually have a connection and like their work. So a lot of the time, if I like them, I will say that. But otherwise, I'll ask for the Instagram just to tag it, because I find it's really hard when you get a photo with someone and you're like, I don't know who this is. I never got the Instagram. I can't find them. How the heck have I got to find this person? So yeah, I feel like it's good practice, at least. Like Jeremy said, to approach people. I feel like it's so good, actually. If you want to practice talking to people, look for someone who's cosplaying something you like, because it's a genuine reaction, and ask for a photo with them.
Good idea. Let's go to ground zero.
Yeah.
So people have no idea how to talk to people or make connections or get involved with the community. Let's start from the start, okay? So, Danny, let's picture this. Say you're a 20-something, maybe you've been just sitting at home doing your own thing, and one day you're like, you know, I want to go to this con today. I want to cosplay. I want to try and connect with the community. I want to get involved, okay? You don't know anybody. You're not going with any friends. Maybe you're cosplaying to something very casual for the first time, right? Let's say, for example, Deku from My Hero Academia. Okay, let's make it real simple. You don't know anybody. You're cosplaying very basically for the first time. You're going by yourself.
Yeah.
What would you do to get the ball rolling? You walk through the front doors. What do you do?
The first thing I always did, because I have gone to cons by myself before, the first thing I'd always do is it's so funny, in my head I'm saying acclimatize to the convention. So, so I'd do a lap around the con, like inside and out, just so I feel more comfortable. Like I'm like, okay, I've settled, because it's overstimulating. Okay, it's a lot.
Okay.
And you get anxious. So the first thing I do is always, look at the stores, and a lot of the time the vendors will talk to you and you'll be like, oh yeah, I love your stuff. And then just keep walking around. And then sometimes on my journey around the con, I feel more confident and I'll see people and I'll be like, oh, that's such a cool character. I love their costume. I'll go up to them and I'll be like, oh, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. I apologize too much. So don't follow my footsteps in the regards to I apologize for approaching someone. You don't need to apologize.
You don't need to apologize.
But I'm always like, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I please have a photo? I love your costume. I love this anime game, whatever. And like, I've never had someone tell me no for a photo. Like, most of the time people are like, oh, of course. Because as a cosplayer, a lot of us know we're going to be asked for a photo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we expect it. So then afterwards, I'll add it to my story and I'll be like, oh, can I tag you? Like, do you have an Instagram or something I could tag you in? And then a lot of the time they're excited about that because because then they'll get the photo afterwards. And sometimes I have them message me afterwards too, being like, oh, can I have the photo? Like, I want to save it, because some people like doing Instagram posts. So I feel like they're good conversation starters.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of yaps to people before because they'll be like, oh, I love your costume too. That's such a cool anime as well. And it's like, oh my God, right? And then it just it just flows. It
It
just
flows. Yeah.
goes. But I feel like you'd have better insight into what happens if the conversation isn't flowing. Like, what are some tips you could
There we
give to
go.
people who are like, how do I make it flow? It's not budging.
I do like a lot of the things that you mentioned in terms of it's a very human experience. You go to a con, it's overstimulating. You're like, what the hell do I do here?
Yeah.
I know nobody, right? And doing a lap, I think that's good. You kind of talk to vendors and whatnot. A big key thing that you introduced there was, I need to kind of settle in, and sometimes that might involve talking to vendors. But the big key here is you need to warm up, right? Warm up socially. So yeah, you can talk to people who have to talk to you, like a vendor, right?
Yeah.
Or a volunteer. You could be like, oh, hey, just got here. What would you recommend looking at first? What's your favorite
that's a
thing to
good
do
one.
here, right? You can talk to volunteers or something, right? And it's like
good.
Danny said, you warm up. Ideally, you'd like to warm up as soon as you get there. So as soon as you park your car, you get off the bus, you talk to someone who's also going in. There's like, oh, hey, you also going to the con as well. Oh, hey, man, I really like your costume. You also going to the con. Right? Very simple. When you get into the zone, you feel like, all right, the thing is you say, oh, get in the zone for talking to people. But when you talk to someone else, they're not in the zone. So why do you need to warm up, right? Because everybody is there for the same thing.
Yeah.
But you make a good point. Yeah, sometimes we need to warm up. But you can warm up just by talking to people. And you had a very good point there. It's like, oh, yeah, wanting to take a photo with someone because they look really cool, great conversation starter. That's, I think, 99% of conversations at a con you can start that way with any cosplay, right?
Yes.
The important part is not what you say to start the conversation, because you can say, hey, excuse me, oh, hey, I'm so sorry, whatever you want to say, Danny, I'm not going to hold it against you. Whatever you do to start the conversation is not the most important thing, okay? You just need to start the conversation. Hey, excuse me. Oh, hello. Hey, hi. Hey, I really like your costume. Hey, I really like that outfit. Hey, I really like your bag, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You start the conversation. But
Rip the Band-Aid off.
rip the Band-Aid off. Soon it's off, then you can get into it. Now, we're talking about community, how to get involved with the community. When you meet new people for the first time, sometimes people are warmed up already. Some people are still very jittery and anxious. They don't want to talk very much. Hopefully you can sense that. If you can't, that's fine. I got you. So what we're going to do, Danny, once you've started the conversation, like I said, oh, let's take a photo. Maybe you want to swap Instagrams, whatever. Try and ask one question, one extra question. Not just, hey, can I get a photo? Okay, thanks, bye. What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Okay.
My extra question is always like, are you having fun? Are you enjoying the convention?
Oh my God. Right.
My basic question.
If you want a very interesting question to ask, a little bit more. So what's the coolest thing you've done today?
Yeah,
Right?
that's a good one.
Open-ended. They can tell you a bit. They can tell you a bit. They can tell you a lot. They can tell you a small amount, right? It's up to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So just ask one question.
Mine
From there,
would be having food.
yeah.
Not
So you might
joking.
be able to get a vibe. They might ask you a question back. You might have a small conversation, whatever it is, okay? But the key here is to, number one, rip off the Band-Aid, like Danny says, and start the conversation. Say hi. Number two, ask one question. That's it.
Yes, I like that. I was also going to say, if they aren't giving much response, they're probably not in the mood to talk and to just leave it. You got to understand social cues a bit.
So that's why one question is good, right? You might say, oh, they looked scary. They didn't look in the mood for talking. Possibly. Did you ask one question to confirm this or not? Sometimes they might be like, oh, how's your day? Oh, good. All right, get out, right? You can just keep walking.
Escape.
Okay? But if
Escape.
again, but how do you know? Are they shy? Are they nervous? Are they anxious? Because you just literally, said, oh, hey, can I talk to you? So sometimes
I think it's so cute when people are shy.
it is. But again, you can't confirm that just by saying, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, I got to go now.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't tell me it's like, oh, they were shy to talk. Did you try talking? Most of the time it's not, right? So that's the best way to start a conversation, kind of suss out the vibe. Now, from there, babe, how do we make a community? How do we kind of join this community of people, like bit by bit, now that we've walked in, we've talked to people bit by bit? How do we kind of start to make this connection with the community?
I was going to say sort of like I mentioned earlier when I first got it more involved with the community, I think joining groups is really important. Like a lot of cons have community meets like for fandoms. So I remember at Brisnova they had like a Chainsaw Man cosplay meetup, and it was by the con itself. I think it was Oz Comic Con. Yeah. So going to that was great because you meet new people. A lot of the people at the time I already knew most of them. So like, but if you're new to this, they will be new to you. So I think getting involved in group cosplays is really good. It's important to do some research beforehand. Even on Facebook, you can find groups being held. I feel like it's a bit difficult when you're new because you're not following maybe many cosplayers who are advertising the groups yet. Because sometimes cosplayers create these big groups outside of the con. But in saying that, I have been to conventions and, you know, people will just come up to you and be like, oh, you're from this series. We're going to have a huge meetup. Do you want to be there? And even though you weren't part of the group chat or anything like that, you know, sometimes people will approach you, but obviously you can't rely on that. Yeah. I feel it's hard because for me, the way I got more involved was from the community group thing that I mentioned, and also just from messaging people on Instagram, like responding to stories, commenting on posts. And it wasn't with the intention of them noticing me. It was because I genuinely liked what they were doing. I was like, this is so cool, or this is hilarious, and you did a good job, or respond to their story, be like, oh my God, how did you do this? How did you do that? And I
mean, you were coming out with a genuine vibe of like, wow, that's cool, or that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Or I like how you did that. And that should be the genuine vibe when you go to meet people more than anything else. It's not like, oh, I want to talk to that person precisely because they're spicy and I like that.
Yeah.
But if you go into any, like, say, group event, you don't even need to be cosplaying. You might just see people cosplaying characters from a series that you really like. And great, you strike up conversations with people who are also in that series that you really like, right? So you don't need to be cosplaying to be social. You don't need to have a big social media presence to be social. It does help. Like you said, people will come up to you sometimes and ask you things. It's a good way for other people to open the door. But take it from me, trust me, when I spent the first 5, 6, 7 years cosplaying, waiting for people to come up to me to talk, you will not meet people that way. It is much, much, much more effective if you go up to people and start conversations because you have the control over your own social life at that point in time.
I think it's harder as a guy too. I feel, I'm not a guy, so I can't say for sure, but I feel that women get approached more than men get approached in the cosplay scene. Simply because there is unfortunately stigmas around, you know, the men within the community. So a lot of the time women don't really approach men, and then guys don't really seem to approach other guys unless they're doing something like funny, like they cosplay something funny, or they I know Byron gets approached when he does Vegeta in the bunny outfit because it's hilarious and he's shirtless with his muscles out. So guys always come up to him and be like, "Oh my God, bro, can you pick me up?" Like, but otherwise, it's a bit trickier. So I feel, Jeremy, you have a lot more insight, especially for the male population in regards, like your knowledge is power.
I could go on a full rant about this, but I'll keep it short. For guys, it is a bit more difficult to get approached. So again, I would not recommend, even for girls, to just hope people start a conversation with you because it's not going to happen. Okay, so therefore, you are much better, and this goes for girls and guys. Mostly guys because you need to.
Yeah.
But if you need to learn to get very good at starting conversations, you need to get very good at learning social cues, you need to get very good at learning how to hold a conversation, you're going to have a much better time if you learn to do those things than if you just waited for someone to come and talk to you. For the exact reasons Danny said, if a guy was to start a conversation, oh, cool, that's brave, that's courageous. If a girl was to start a conversation with a guy that she found cute or whatever, it's like, oh, is she trying to get something? Is she being a little bit spicy?
Promiscuous,
promiscuous, right? There's all these connotations that come with a girl wanting to start a conversation, whereas for a guy, there's a lot less of that stigma that comes around.
That is true. Both sides have something.
Yeah, exactly. Girls starting conversation with girls, great, whatever. Girls having
Yeah.
conversations with guys, there might be something behind there. But
Mm.
for guys, start chats with other guys, start chats with girls, start chats with everybody. Like, that's just what it is to be social, right?
Yeah.
But
I think it helps a lot too.
yeah, it just helps just being a social person. So it's like you mentioned, Danny. If you started from ground zero, 20 something, never cosplayed, maybe try for the first time, go to a community, just start conversations with people with no other object or premise rather than like, hey, you look cool, let's have a conversation. That's it. That should be all it is. And it's like you said, over time, you might have a short conversation with this person. Maybe you have like a 5-minute conversation with the next person, whatever. And throughout the day, you might run into them again. You might say hello again and see what's happening. But I found, and you've probably found the same, Danny, just over time, when you go back to conventions, you might run into the same people again. You might, it's like, oh, hey, I recognize you from last time, right?
Yes.
And bit by bit, you'll build that convention camaraderie, I suppose, of, hey, like convention friends. And over time, you'll meet people who you get along better than other people. And that's normal. Like, Danny has some really, really good besties who I'm sure are great people, but I just don't get along with them. And that's fine because, everyone's different. We all have different friend groups, friend circles. Sometimes they cross, sometimes they don't. But the goal here is to get into the community and find your people, find your tribe, find your circles, because there's someone for everyone. So
go to the panels and the activities that you're interested in. You'll find people like you that you can chat with. The board game and stuff.
What's your opinion, your express opinion about going to, because I love group meetups. I think they're great. To me, it's less about the photos and just more to meet like-minded people who like the same thing. Yeah. What's your opinion about going to things like panels, competitions, shows, things where you literally have to sit down and watch something? What's your opinion about that?
When it comes to making friends.
Making friends and community, that kind of thing, yeah.
I feel like you definitely can't talk throughout those things because it's rude. Maybe a little comment is good. So, like, I've had a girl sit next to me once and we'd be like, what the heck? And I was like, I was wondering what the heck that was too. Then we have like a little giggle and that's it. But it doesn't really start a conversation because you can't. I would you can wait until afterwards and maybe talk to the panelists, because sometimes the panelists stick around to chat a little further with the crowd.
Absolutely.
So that's a good way. If you enjoyed the panel and you like what they spoke about, a lot of the time these panelists, they're there because they're passionate and they love talking to people about what the topic was.
Yeah.
So go, like, they would probably be the most welcoming in regards to having a conversation with, because that's what they're there for. And they could even give you some advice or introduce you to some people. There might be someone else waiting around to ask some questions and you could talk to them too.
Exactly that, yep.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I think exactly the same. So it'd have to be
after though.
It is after, because I personally don't like going to stuff like cosplay competitions or big shows with, like, has a guest on stage and they might be doing a panel or speaking. To me personally, those are not great for being community orientated or meeting people, because people are there specifically to see what's on stage, right?
Yeah.
Or watch the competitors. The smaller panels, like you said, I really like them.
Me
it
too.
might be a good friend of yours that's up on stage, or maybe it's someone that you are following and you like what they are doing, or maybe you think the topic as you're walking by, it's like, oh, that's an interesting topic. You can sit down and listen a little bit. And it's like you said, I think specifically creators on the smaller stages, a lot of the time I think they like to have a chat with people who came to listen. And you might, again, people who came to listen, if you're interested in the topic, you've got something in common with someone else who's also waiting. So it's a good chance to strike up a conversation with someone else who's waiting to ask a question, or even if they walk away, it's like, hey, that was a pretty cool panel, wasn't it? I was like, oh, hey, do you know that person up on stage? I don't know.
I've done that before, actually.
It's really
I just thought about it at PAX. I saw, so Edo Cosplay that we had done a shout out for. He was a competitor, or he still is. He's competed for PAX. And when we were waiting to talk with one of the people who did the panel, I believe it was Samir and a few others, I noticed him and I was like, oh, is it Edo Cosplay? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I love your work so much. Like, I've seen you compete and you do such a great job. You're so lovely and such a nice guy. And we just ended up talking about the craftsmanship behind the costumes and just in general and his next plans. But because I had seen him on stage, I ended up having a conversation with him at a panel.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we both went to the same panel.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I think, because I think when it comes to, wanting to fit in with the community or wanting to meet others, I think the thing that people get stuck on is, where do I meet these people or how do I meet these people? And it almost boggles my mind because the entire convention is designed so you can talk to people and meet people. And exactly. I think, to me personally, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong if you think you've got a different opinion on this, but the people who struggle with finding community or finding like-minded people are quite literally the people who don't make the effort to start conversations with people in those spaces. Because
I agree.
If you just sit, and I've mentioned this several times already today, if you just sit and wait for people to come and talk to you, you're not going to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But if you make the effort...
And you also can't... Yeah, sorry, continue.
I was just going to say, if you make the effort to, go out and talk to people, you're going to fall flat in your face sometimes. I've had people tell me, it's like, yep, not interested. It happens. And I'm like, well, okay, that sucks. But if you try to start, 20 conversations in a day, you'll probably succeed 13, 14 times out of 20. Who cares about the 5 or 6 times that someone, flipped you off? Like, it's going to happen just for whatever reason. So anyway, you were saying before I interrupted you again.
No, I interrupted you. I did way too much. I was just going to say you can't force it as well. Like you can't force that connection. You can't force people to follow you or to like you. You honestly, just like Jeremy said, you just have to talk and try and be yourself. Don't try and force it. Like, absolutely. That's all I'm going to say. There are some people that I think struggle, like they do make an effort, but the part that they do struggle with is the social cues and awareness and understanding when, okay, you've spoken enough, this person needs to go, and like they're trying to hint that, it was great talking to you, I'll see you around, and then you keep trying to talk with them, and it's like, let them go. Those are the things that I think some people also struggle with that definitely takes practice. And even maybe just ask the question too. Like a lot of the time, if I'm worried that I'm being too much, I just ask them. I'll just straight up be like, if I'm being too much, just let me know. If you need to go, just let me know. Or I'll even start by saying, are you in a rush? Because I never want to hold people back, and some people are too scared. And I don't want it to be a bad experience, but
look,
sometimes just being honest.
Here's a good way, because especially if you're someone who can't read cues, I think that's a very good thing to do. But generally a good indication of if you're still there in conversation with the person and they're still looking at you like this, they're looking into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
And they're listening and they respond to you and they're asking questions. It's a conversation. It's back and forth, right?
I was going to say, yeah.
If it starts to get to the stage in which they're kind of going back here like this and they're kind of turning this way,
they're
then,
like looking around and they're just
at the same time, it's also in the power of the person who needs to go or doesn't want to be there. You can say something. It's as simple 100%. As like, hey man, so sorry to interrupt you. It's great talking to you. I've got to go now though, but you have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
And you can leave, right? You don't need to wait for a break in conversation or
and you don't need to be an asshole either. Yeah. Yes. So, oh my gosh.
But so I think with the community thing, it's not just, I need to find, because Danny, let me tell you, the number of times I've met dudes in the community in cosplay, at the time, they're cosplaying, they're single, whatever it is, as soon as they get a girlfriend, I never see them again.
Oh, yeah.
Never see them again. And that's fine. But if the goal here is to, hey, let's join a community of people, let's have a genuine circle of friends who we can meet up with and catch up with, then you should still come back to conventions with your girlfriend and socialize and meet people, because I don't know, there's something to me that's a little bit
oh man,
sad. It's just, you seem like a pretty cool dude and you just disappear as soon as you find a girl. So
I feel like we vaguely spoke about that too in regards to, I remember mentioning that it's really, sometimes it's a struggle to date someone who isn't in that space that you're into, because they struggle to understand why you're so invested and so passionate about it, and they get jealous of your time being spent elsewhere, sorry, not spelt. And even though they try to be involved, they don't enjoy it. So it's like this tricky, like, oh, what do I do? Do I leave that behind to make them happy? Or yeah, I think we've spoken about it before. But
I think, Danny, we've spoken off
so
camera about
important.
it before, just kind of about your previous relationship anyway.
Yeah.
If anyone is stuck in that position, maybe he's like, yeah, I'm a cosplayer, but I'm dating someone who doesn't cosplay. There's nothing wrong with that inherently.
Of course.
There's nothing wrong with that. However,
Yep.
whether your passion is cosplay, whether it's Warhammer, whether it's football, whether it's ballet, like whatever, people are going to have interests and passions. And your partner, they should be supporting your passion in whatever way, shape, or form. And
Agreed.
they should get into a relationship with you being aware of your passion for X, Y, Z, right?
Yeah.
And say, oh, look, this passion of mine, cosplay, I spend a lot of time on it. I'm really into it. And yeah, it's something that I really love and I don't want to put it down. Maybe to them at some point in time, it's like, oh, let's try it. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not really into it. That's cool. Like, you can still have your passion. But if the second they go like, oh, you know what? You're spending too much time on your passion and I need some of your time. Yeah, you can find a compromise, I'm sure. But if they say, no, you need to stop because I don't like it. No.
Yeah. I think it gets tricky because sometimes the other will get jealous. They'll see, because you get selfies with everyone at these conventions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be with groups or individual and, you know, your partner might be like, who's that? Which is understandable. Like, I get it. It's someone you don't know. And maybe you guys look more friendly than usual. And you probably have just never met. It's just some random person you got a photo with. But it just starts all these, you know, trust issues sometimes, which is not your fault. It's just an insecurity thing.
Yes.
You know, I think the point is you need to have someone who's understanding and confident in your relationship and dynamic. Like, there's got to be a lot of communication is all I'm saying.
Relationships in cosplay. That's going to be our next topic, Danny, I think, because that's that's a big
agree.
one. Obviously, just on that note, it does make it easier when your partner is also, they know what cosplay is, they also like it, they want to join you because couple cosplays, it's all fun like that. But even if they're not into it, you know, at the very least, your partner should be understanding, yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah, it's social. Yeah, I go out and take photos with people.
Yeah.
But that's what the hobby is, really. And if they don't understand, then we'll, you know, let me try and help you understand because it's fun. But each to their own. Each to their own.
I agree.
So
one of the other things we want to talk about,
one thing
which I think you're about to mention.
I was just about to mention. Don't worry, I got you. You mentioned a really good part earlier today, just about social media. Okay, a lot of people, like I said, social media is a good vehicle, like a car, right? You can get from point A to point B with people, but you don't need it, but it makes it so much easier. Okay,
100%.
You had a really good approach to just getting to know people. Say you're brand new, you're level 25 Deku, male, you've never been to this thing before, right? And you want to talk to people, get to know some people for the event. Yeah, cool. You might find different profiles. Maybe someone's got a set cosplay they're working on. Yeah, message them. Hey, dude, this looks awesome. I know we've never chatted before, but I like the progress. Keep it up. I'm watching. Just a genuine compliment, right?
Yes.
Sometimes they will reply. Sometimes they won't reply. That's normal, right? That's very normal. If they reply, awesome, cool. You got like a level 1 friendship with someone. You might spot them at the con. It's like, hey, dude, hope I'd catch you here today. Maybe they'll reply like, yeah, no, that's cool. Let's catch up. When are you free? Oh, that's happened before. Maybe you're not at the friendship level required to organize a convention meetup. Right? It's like, oh, I've talked to this guy like once. I don't really care. Right? But say you've been chatting back and forth a little bit. It's like, yeah, maybe we're like level 5 in friendship now. Yeah, why not? He seems like a cool dude. Let's catch up and say hi.
Yeah.
So the point is to kind of use social media. Very easy because you have access to the world of people in which, you can just send out DMs. You can comment on things. You can comment on someone's story. And you've been very good at that because every time, Danny, I see something pop up, whether it's like the convention posting about something or like, oh, we're announcing these guests or someone posts something cool. Like 9 times out of 10, it's always Daniela Makes Things commenting like, wow, that's awesome, man. Like, oh, that's so cool. And it's great because people notice. People will notice.
I like it. Yeah. I feel like I think I just really want to encourage people to support each other more. And I get it. A lot of the time we kind of like, doom scrolling is a thing where
Yeah.
you just keep scrolling and you might like something, but you don't actually engage with it. Like you don't comment on it. In your head, you're probably like, wow, my friend's so cool.
That's cool.
They did such a good
and
job.
you hit like and then move on.
Yeah.
Right?
And move on. I'm trying to encourage people to actually like engage more with what they're seeing and give their opinion, like show more of you.
Yeah, and it's just that it's
Yeah.
not just like, oh, I don't want to like give them comment for the algorithm. What it's not about that. The whole point
No.
is quite literally you're literally being a little blip on their radar, saying, oh,
Yeah.
Jeremy just commented on my stuff. He always posts, once in a while saying, good job, whatever,
Yeah.
and that's really encouraging and it's really
Yeah.
supportive, and I appreciate that. People are going to remember.
Commenting helps both too.
It does.
Yeah,
It
commenting
really does.
helps both your algorithms. It helps Instagram see that you're not a bot.
Yeah,
and that you're
exactly.
someone that they want to push for, and it helps the people that you're commenting on with the algorithm too.
Yeah.
It pushes it further to more people, so it works both ways.
A good thing to keep in mind too, Dan, you do this automatically, so you don't even need to know this. But if you want to comment on something for encouragement or support, or want to ask a question, like actually make it a full comprehensible sentence. So if you posted progress on your set cosplays, like, Danny, that's awesome. Like, I love the way you did the feathers. Good job. Right?
Yeah,
Something like
find
that.
something to.
Don't just put
comment
like, sexy, love hot, love hot, love hot. Does nothing.
Some of us girls do that, but yeah.
Oh,
There's some of the girls with each other. You are a goddess. I will kiss the ground you work upon. You
worship
walk upon.
on, right? I'll kiss the ground. And like,
Yeah.
it's that kind of comment is good when
Yeah.
you are friends with them, or you
Yeah.
know that there's no sinister intention, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Because if I
yes.
commented, it's like, oh my god, Danny, like I worship the ground you walk on. That is so sexy. You got this. If it was coming from me, you'd be like, oh, Jeremy, you stupid, like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
right?
It's
But
so
if it was
true.
someone that you weren't close to, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird, right?
Yeah, instantly would think it's weird. Yeah.
So same thing, I could do that to other guys that I'm friends with that I'm not super close to, but because they know there's nothing inherently I'm after or I'm not doing anything, it's fine. Girls to girls, typically the same thing. So,
yeah,
so
exactly.
commenting, you have power in your hands. Use it for good.
Yes.
Use it to
And you can
connect
find
with
other people.
Yeah.
Yes, like Jeremy said, someone might respond to your comment that isn't even the person who posted the post. They'll be like, "Oh
Exactly.
my god, I came here for this comment." You might find someone like you.
Exactly. And
I wanted to talk about the
go.
beauty side of it, but I don't know if we can do it in this episode. I feel like we'll have to save it for the next episode.
We can, because we can. Okay. So when we started thinking about this episode, we got like a bunch of the top comments for why people feel they don't fit in, or they can't enjoy the community, or they can't just get connected with the cosplay community. And some of the top ones was, I struggle to connect with people. I struggle with the online aspect. I struggle with a sense of belonging. And, to address all that, you need to start talking to people, right?
Yes.
Two other things that popped up was, I don't feel attractive enough to cosplay, or I feel like I'm too old to cosplay. So what are your thoughts
People
on that,
think
Danny?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. And another one was people think it's more of a beauty contest now.
Right.
They think you have to be like this super sexy model to
You have to be a certain-
successful. Yeah.
A certain
Or even
level of
get
beauty
attention.
to deserve to cosplay, right? Or
Yeah,
to be able to be part of the
exactly.
community. So what are your experiences about that, actually?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I feel that way of thinking comes from a lack of understanding why you see certain posts and why they do well. For instance, a lot of those super, model material cosplayers, their job is most of the time to be a model of like a cosplay model, to represent companies. They'll be flown to a country to dress as a character from a game and literally just stand there looking pretty. Like that is their job. But you don't have to have that to work in cosplay or to even get noticed in cosplay. There are multiple different reasons. Some people are noticed because they're hot.
Yeah.
Some people are noticed because they're funny.
Yep.
Like, what's her name? Riley? Is that how you say it?
Riley.
She's
fun. She's also hot, so that helps. Okay.
Yeah, she is hot
She's
too,
hot.
but she doesn't, her content, I don't believe started with her
No.
all glammed up. She was just, messy hair.
It's
I'm
so
going to turn myself
funny. Her
into
bloody
the
lemon grab
Simpsons.
and her Pikmin. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
See,
God.
no one is watching it because, she's got her boobies out or anything. People are watching it because she's funny and she's bubbly and she's laughing and you're laughing with her. But yeah, people who are funny or attractive, or they're really good. I feel like that applies to most things as well, even like streaming or YouTube and etc. It's about what you're providing for your audience, and you don't even have to provide something though. Like
that's just it. Because I think if what's the goal? I think is the overall arching question here, right? If your goal is I want to get big on social media, but I don't feel like I'm hot enough, that's a different topic altogether, right? But if it's like, I don't feel like I'm making friends and I'm not connected with the community because I don't feel like I'm hot enough, that's completely wrong. That's completely wrong.
100%.
Do you see this face looking on the cover of Vogue magazine? No, I'm pointing to myself, by the way. I'm pointing to myself.
I was going to say,
but
you could be on the next cosplay mag. You have been, actually.
I have, and it wasn't to my looks, let me tell you that. Okay?
Look at this guy. He's actually been in one.
Yeah, but again, you don't have to be the best at something to belong to a community at all. That's not the point of a community. A community is literally you meet people, you talk to people, and you socialize with people. You connect over different things. You are fans of the same things. You're fans of different things, and you discuss, right?
Age doesn't matter either,
Age
guys. Unless you're like old and talking to like 16-year-olds, then it matters. Then it's a bit. I agree. It can be a bit creepy.
I agree. I'm not 80. I'm not like balding with white hair or struggling to walk or anything like that. But anyone who is underage, I definitely have kept at an arm's length, just because like, hey, cool costume, like fist bump, and then I really don't entertain the costume. Entertain the conversation too much from there.
The costume.
I don't entertain the conversation too much from there.
Either.
But again, with young people in the community, they're 18, 19, 20, like obviously they're not the people that I seek out to talk to. But if they're also there at the My Hero Academia meet and they're dressed up as a costume who's matching mine, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's great. We should take a selfie. Sweet. But, if there's something that we are mutually vibing on, then cool, excellent. It's just more unlikely that we would because of the difference in age. But it doesn't mean that we, need to avoid each other or we can't get along as human beings at all, because that's not the case. So if you're feeling like you're too old, if you've missed the boat, trust me, there's plenty of 20, 30, 40 somethings in the community who you can chat to and hang out with and meet and enjoy their company, because that's what we're here for. We're not spring chickens, as Danny says anymore. We're not fresh out of high school, just cosplaying for the first time. That's it was a long time ago now, wasn't it?
Oh my god, yeah. That was when Naruto still is the shit to me, but like that was when it was hype. Like every costume was from Naruto at
every store was selling like a headband from your favorite village. Akatsuki cloaks were the staple at every convention.
Oh man, gacha games weren't really, I don't think, a thing then.
No, because there weren't as many smartphones. There wasn't internet. So, we had to play.
People are going to think we were Neanderthals. Neanderthals. I can't say the word. Yeah. I think we were cave people.
No, they still had blind boxes. I remember one of my first supernovas I went to. There was like an Inuyasha blind box I bought.
Oh, I love Inuyasha.
So, that was... I got... what's his name? The monk guy, Miroku or something?
Miroku. Yeah.
And I'm like,
pervy sage.
I was like, I just know Inuyasha and Sesshomaru and Kagome. It's like, if it's not those two, I'm like, who is this guy? What is this thing? So
no, you did good. You did good. Sango's a baddie.
Interesting. But so that's community in a nutshell. It's just you need to talk to people. Like you need to talk to people if you want to be involved in a community. Even if it's online. You need to talk to people. And it doesn't need to be, am I going to look creepy sending a DM? Or am I going to look creepy sending a comment? Your DM or your comment should be purely supportive. It should be like a compliment. Because if someone thinks that you're creepy, you're probably creepy, I'm sorry to say, because the only time which it wouldn't be is quite literally, no. Because, if you're a super old dude and you talk to a young lady, if they thought you were creepy, you're probably creepy. I'm sorry to say, because you can definitely be an older gentleman talking to a younger person and not be creepy. Like
100%.
It's definitely not difficult to do.
Yeah.
So
Your level of attraction has nothing to do with it either. That's a you kind of like confidence issue to delve into if you feel like because you're not attractive,
Yeah.
as you would call it, that no one likes you, then that's just a sense of you lacking confidence in yourself.
yeah,
I feel like everyone is beautiful
100%.
in their own way.
We come to cosplay, and look, I've said this before. I think a lot of us come into conventions and cosplay, and I haven't met one person I've ever talked to throughout cosplay or at a convention who's been like, "Hey, were you a popular kid at school?" No one ever have I met was that popular kid at school. They
Yeah,
were
same.
probably more like you and me. We probably didn't have too many friends. We're probably the weird nerdy kid.
Yeah.
These odd interests who
Yeah.
liked anime, and we're all just the same in the same boat. And coming into cosplay, some of us, we are fundamentally we are a bit more attractive than we think we are. Just we've been told differently all our life. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. We're all geeks. We're all nerds just at a con wanting to dress up and wanting to meet people and make connections. And looks has nothing to do with that. So
exactly. I know a lot of us struggle with self-image because, let's be real, we're dressing up and we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. Like, it's
to people
definitely a
online, right,
visual
on the
thing.
phone.
Yeah, it's a very visual thing. And I've even had a lot of girls message me and be like, how are you confident? Like, how did you get confidence? And I'm like, honestly, practice and self-love. Like,
Self-love
that's
is a
it.
huge thing.
Self-love
Yeah.
and just learning and practice posing, and like, because the posing side is always hard, but like, yeah, honestly, and surrounding yourself with good people who like want to pull you up and not drag you down.
Oh,
is super
that's
important too.
huge. Just surrounding yourself with people who say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, dude, like that's awesome." Not like, "Oh, what are you doing this for?" Or
Yeah.
it's like,
There are
"Oh wow,
people
like,
who will pick
why
at
are you
you,
wasting
not
money on
good.
that?" Versus
Yeah.
like, "Nah, dude, spend more money on it." Like,
Yeah, go
you haven't-
ham.
you're not on my level yet. Like, get up there, get up here.
Yeah.
So, I think
Yeah, the little
surrounding
minor
yourself-
comments are bad. Yeah.
So, but I think that's probably what people are talking about when they mean community. When they meet people at a con, just someone to hang out with regularly, maybe have a good circle of
Yeah.
friends. Maybe it's just that you struggle to make friends because it's you don't know how to have those conversations. But again, like Danny said, you can't force anything. Sometimes you go to a con, you meet someone, you hit it off straight away. Cool. Sometimes it goes, you go to a con, you never see them again until the next con. See them again, it's like, oh, I remember you from last time, and you build it up bit by bit. So.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like it's actually easier to make friends in today's time than it was when we first started cosplaying, Jeremy. Like,
And
in
honestly,
my opinion.
I agree because
Yeah.
of social media. I honestly believe because of social media. Some people say it's like, oh, it's harder because no connection. No, it's easier because you literally
much easier
can.
to talk to
I
people.
can send you a message right now. Once upon a time, it's like, oh, phone number. Ooh, do I send them a message like an SMS? Is that too intimate? Is that too forward?
Yeah. Yeah.
But with Instagram, it's so casual. Like nothing
Yes.
is like, oh, is this like because he's sending me an SMS, does that mean he likes me? Like,
Yeah.
it makes it so
Yes.
much easier to connect with people. But
I agree.
I think people just make it a lot more difficult in their heads because it's really not. So
But if you're ever curious, just ask us. Like, just message us, guys. Although I know I'm not the best at responding sometimes, and on Instagram, even though we just said go message people on
Yep,
Instagram,
yep.
it is hard. It gets, the more you get into the community, it gets bombarded.
well, that's just it. I think you need to be aware of the art of messaging as well, which is I think where people get a bit intimidated. It's like, oh, but what if someone doesn't message in time? Is that rude? Am I being put to the side? Sometimes
Yeah.
yes, sometimes no. You have to know how to read these things as well. You're like, we got you. All right.
Yeah.
2 episodes coming up. 1, relationships in cosplay. Number 2,
Yes.
navigating social media in cosplay. I think we
Yes.
can shed some light on this situation, Danny. I think it's a
That'll
good
be
idea.
good.
Yeah.
Have some insights on growing on it on social media.
Social
too.
media,
We'll
yeah.
have the both sides for the communicating on social media and also growing. We'll do like a
Growing,
little bit
yeah.
of the growing. If
That's a-
you
that's a good
are
one.
curious.
We've got a few
Yeah.
messages about one too. It's like, how do I grow my profile? I'm like, look, man, I'm figuring that out too, but I can show you how to be a.
Takes time, guys.
Takes time.
Not an
It's
overnight
not an
thing.
overnight thing. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah, that
good
was
yap
good.
today, Danny. Good yap.
That was so
Had a
good.
time. Yeah.
That was fun.
If you guys enjoyed our yapping again,
Yes.
feel free to consider joining our JustBeCos Patreon that we've got here. Literally the cost of a cup of coffee. It's like $4
Yes.
Aussie So for you
Please,
Americans, that's
no.
like $2. That's nothing. Again, it's
Yeah.
everything that we do get from that. It literally goes back into keeping this platform online, so you can listen to it on Spotify and your favorite podcast places. And you can join our
Exactly.
free community if you're on Patreon, where you can talk to us, can talk to our other cool Patreon members, and look at anything that's coming around the corner. So that's what we're about. But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in this far. If you've come to this part of the episode, we appreciate you a lot.
Thank you.
And yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming up, Danny. We can't say too much yet, but
Oh,
we're gonna have some
yes.
cool
I'm
stuff
so
soon.
keen.
Yeah.
So keen.
Excellent.
Hee.
Okay, thanks very much, guys. Talk soon. See you
Thanks,
next week.
guys.
Love you.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.